So to do the runes, it's fairly easy. Just go into this isolated mode, go to the dot view, and on that we can just go to the wireframe view, select the front part because we just need the front, select them, mark as seam, do the same thing on the back side, mark as seam, select all, unwrap, and the major part is fairly done. We have only the, I would say the things in the middle to unwrap, so select maybe one side of that and then we can cut it. And if you do it in this way, it's very important that you, as you can see, we have just cut it in here too, so we have to resolve that. It's very easy, just select the sharp edges and then you can invert the selection, and with that you can just clear seam, and that's totally fine. So we have just to resolve maybe some major minor issues here, especially like this here. Let's see what's going on. That's fine. We have just closed that again, so wrap it again, same thing here. So it's everything inside. Alright, we are done. You see something like this. It's the, I would say it's the inner part, so we can't just ignore that. It's really important that we have the front, and we have to select the front obviously, because the back we don't really need. It's not really showing us. So select them, put them on top, so we can just take the back side, scale them a little bit down. So we are going to save some space, and this here is what we need. Alright, so done this, we are going to go to the next one. I'm going to do it here. So this object here could be a little bit tricky. As you can see, we have here some problems. We did some modeling a little bit wrong, but essentially we don't need this part here because we are inside of the object of the other one of this detail. So technically we just can scale that in this area and delete all of this, because it's going to be hidden inside. That's totally fine. So we have just resolved this error. Next here, the tricky part could be this area here, but you can just cut it from the object. So let's see how it's going to be. So this 2 is that area, that's fine. I'm going to hide that. And now we have just this here left. As you can see, we are not that bad here. So this face, you can't really tell this face here, so it's still in a relatively good bluish area, and this part down here is a little bit stretched, so we have just to look for that maybe. So it's this here. Okay, yeah, it's obvious why it's stretched, but the thing about that, it's a sudden detail. You can't really see it unless you are going to make some really close up shots, but I don't want to do that, so for me it's fine. I'm going to unwrap all again, and we are done with this here. So we have to go now to the next. I think I'm going to start with this here. So yeah, as you can see, we have this long thing here going on, but I think we can just resolve that in a simple way. So let's see what we have here. So first of all, I'm going to cut the back from the front. So just select this here, select the front, and let's see if we unwrap it. We have now this strange thing here going on, but it's not as bad as I thought. Maybe here we have some major issue, so let's see what's going on down here. Okay, yeah, but I think that's a part we can't really see, so let's see. Yeah, we can't really see that, so it's not really a problem, but obviously we have just to cut them. So let's see how we can do this. Maybe yeah, I'm going to select all the stuff here. Or if we just select that and in the front, I think that is going to resolve the problem. And yes, we are good here. Okay, the problem about this is we can't really put some nice detail on that, because the space here is not really used in a good way. So we have just to maybe cut it in half to just use yeah, a little bit more of the space, but we're going to have some problems later on the texturing. But yeah, I think we can just leave it like that. What's going on here? Okay, some curvy stuff, but the good thing is it's just at the bottom, and so we can't really see it, so that's fine. And the same thing on the top, we can't really see it, so that's fine too. But I think if we just make a seam here, we can just unwrap it a little bit better. No, it's not doing that. Okay, so that we're going to leave it like that maybe. Let's see if we just put some here. No, it's not doing nothing. All right. We are going to leave it like that. That's totally fine. And for this space here, we have to resolve it. Oh, maybe we can just try some other thing. And we can just try to apply all transform. And now just unwrap it. Maybe it's going to be better. Not, it's not going to be better. So we have just to leave it like that. Or let's try another thing. Let's try the cylinder projection. Nope. Alright, that's fine. So later on, when we are going to do the texture, we see if we have to do some major updates, some major stuff here. But for now, it's fine. Good. The last thing we have to do is this little detail here. So let's see how we can do this. I think the same way we have done the other one. So I'm going to cut the front here because it has some major things going on, and I'm going to cut this all the way here, and we have just this resolved. So the last thing is here, the front. Let's see how we can do this. So I'm going to select this stuff here. We have to cut it in any ways, so we can just do it as first. Alright, I think we are done. I'm going just to unhide all the rest of the object. Select all, go into edit mode, select all again, and UV unwrap. Oh, sorry, don't do this because we have just to hide this here, so the backside of that. And now we can just select all, unwrap, and it's going to fit in here. That's totally fine. But the next thing you have to do is just reduce a little bit more the poly count. So if you go into edit mode, select all, we have a poly count of 70,000. We have to reduce that. We can totally do that. And usually I'm going to do this in this way. I'm taking one object, so maybe this here, and just delete every second loop cut. So select them, and then you can just delete it. So like that. Maybe we can just delete every second in here. No, it's destroying our shape, so we leave that like that. That's totally fine. Good, we are going to the next one. You can do this as long as you don't delete or destroy the shape. So maybe if I'm just doing like that, you see we have here a different shape from the other one, from the high poly, so don't do that. Keep that in mind, we need that. And I'm going to do this in for all of the object. And another thing, just keep in mind some details we can just bake on it. So stuff like this here, we don't need that because we are going to bake that on this object. So just delete this, we can save some extra poly count, that's totally fine. Yeah, I'm going to explain it later on, so for this object here, I would like to keep the most part of the holding edges. So we have maybe just to delete this here. So let's try it. Maybe we can delete it. Yeah, it's good if we just take them. But for this area here, I think it's too much maybe. Yeah, it's a little bit too much, so I'm going to leave them. So we don't have a really big object, so it doesn't matter. Good, so this is done and I can go to the next one. So the blade is a little bit different because we have here a holding edge right in the middle. So it would be this here, but if we just delete them, we have a problem up here. So as you can see, we don't do this in this way. Maybe if we just deselect them, and now we can, yeah, now we can just do it. So everything is fine. Another thing you can do is, if you don't want that, you can just deselect the upper half, so these two edges, and then you can just slide them on the side. It's the same thing you are doing, so you can do it in either or the other way. And down here we have just to resolve this little things going on, and I just want to join this here together, so we have a little bit more of a consistent area down here. And we are done with that. Up here I just want these edges to be in the low poly, so we are totally fine, and the blade is done. For the runes, we can't really do here something. I'm just thinking about if we maybe are going to delete the runes, so we can just use the runes as an object we are baking on the low poly. So just for explanation, I'm delete that. I'm going to reactivate high poly, and we are just going to bake that on display. Maybe we are going to do that, that's a little bit better. Alright, we are done with the low poly reduction. Now if I go into the edit mode, we have a vertex count of 12k, so it's a little bit better. Yeah, that's totally fine. This one is a lot, 8k. Maybe we can just reduce it a little bit better, but I don't think, because we can't really delete them. Yeah, let's try. Let's try it. So I hope it's not too low poly. As you can see, we have here some jaggy edges. I don't really know if we can do this. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this 8k. It's totally fine. It's how we want to, but yeah. Okay, so now we have basically to apply all the mirror modifier on the object. So go through every object and apply that. Good, I have just unwrapped it again, but you have to go one by one. So we have to go through one by one, because maybe we have some areas like this here, we have to recut it. So just decide in here, the inner part. So let's just do this quick maybe. So all the objects are done now. We have now finally to go the last time in here, unwrap it again, and now we can lay our UV map. So we have basically to decide which element should be with a lot of details and which one should be not with a lot of details. So I will definitely, I want definitely the blade to have a lot of details, because we have the runes inside. Then the next thing, basically all the stuff you can see in front will have a lot of details. So the leather strap, I want a lot of details in here, so it has to be in the side. That's perfectly fine. I just unwrap it all one by one, so like that. Just keep in mind they have to be the same space here, the same, I would say the same size. And I just want the gem with a lot of details maybe. I don't really know how we can do this, but I want some details on it. And definitely the complete whole stuff here, I just want a lot of detail. And on this here I want a lot of detail, front and the back. So maybe we rotate them in this way, and these two here, let's see. Now we have a little bit of a problem because we don't have enough space, so maybe we have just to yeah, decide which one will not have a lot of space maybe. Let's just make them a little bit smaller, put them down here, and this here could be a little bit up here, maybe a little bit more smaller, and now we have space for that. Alright, the rest would be this. Oh, I will definitely have a lot of details for this, and a lot of for that. So put them inside, maybe, let's see if we just put them Let's put them like this. It's intersecting, that's fine. We have our UV Packmaster free, so don't worry. We have just to decide for the rest. So this here has to be the same details as the rest, like that. And we have still this here left, that's inside. We don't need that really. We need this here and this down here. And I think we are just fairly done with that. I want that in the same size. Alright, I'm going to activate all, select all, open the end panel, go to UV Packmaster 3. And in here, it's very important before you go to pack that you go and activate the option Fix Scale. And with that, we have just to deactivate rotation because I don't want to rotate them again in another way. And now we can press pack. We have an orange option, we have no UV space, so we have just to scale them a little bit down, pack again, and now we have the space for that. We have still some space here, but we are going to try it with this UV island. That's totally fine. And usually now I go in here and I'm deciding, I'm thinking about, is this an object who will be static, so it's not a gun like so on the gun you can just change the mag, or there's an animation going on that. On this word I just want to be one object, no animation on it. So just select one as active and press Command J to join them together. And with this whole object I'm going to call this sword normal low. And that's it. With that we can just export it. So export it as FBX. You can do it in quick favorites if you have just added it, or you can go to File, export as FBX, and that's the same thing. Good. In here I'm going to call this sword normal low. And it's very important that you go to limit to a selected object. And under geometry you can go to smoothing, face, and under this option apply modifiers, it has to be ticked. That's good. And we are done here. You can go to export FBX. So after the export we have to do fairly the same thing on the high poly. So I'm going to hide the low poly, we bring back our high poly. And the only thing we have to do here is to apply the mirror modifier. And another thing I always forget when I'm doing stuff like this, we have just to go into edit mode, select all and press Command T to triangulate all the things here so we don't have any problems later on. Good, that's fine. And we can just export it as FBX. I'm going to call this time sword normal high, and we have the same option, selected object, smoothing, face, and apply modifiers. That's fine. So I jump back to the low poly because in here we have just to do the triangulation again. I'm just going to activate the screencast key, so you see I'm just pressing in the edit mode with all selected, Command T, and with that you have just triangulated the whole stuff. Good, now we can just export it again on the low. That's fine. I have here an error. I'm going to resolve that really quick, but go to export FBX. Good, we are ready to open up Marmoset Toolbag. In Marmoset Toolbag, it's the first thing I'm going to do is just to drag and drop the low poly stuff and the high poly stuff in here. So it's doing automatically the stuff we want to, and we have our sword here. So as you can see, we see now our high poly. I'm going to close them. This is our high poly, this is our low poly. I'm going to hide the high poly, and down here is our low poly, so everything is as I want to. The next thing, we have to go to this bread icon. It's the new bake project. I'm going to call this a sword just for keep stuff clean. We're going to drag and drop the high poly into the high slot and the low poly into this low slot. It's going to hide automatically the high poly. That's totally fine. But we have to see first of all what we are doing. So I'm going to bring back, so unhide it. And we have now to determine how big it's going to be our baking cage. So go to the low slot, and in here what you are seeing is our baking cage. It's too big, so we have to go a little bit down. This option just mean we have to the auto bake on, so I'm going to be on none. So if I'm going to max offset to 0, you see, I don't know if you can see it, but this here, the runes have a different color than our baking cage. It's a light green, but here is our standard mat cap, our standard default material. If I just go up with this offset here, you see it's going to be inside, and this is what I want. I just want it fairly on top of it, so it's going to be baked. Don't exaggerate it with that, because we have some problems in here, but we are going to bake it in this way, and we are going to see if it's worked or not. Good, we have to hide it now, the high poly, and with that we can go to our Sword Bake project, and in here we have to change a couple of things. The first thing we have to do is under output, we have to determine where it's going to be saved. I just want it into my Sword folder. I'm going to create a new folder called Marmoset, and in here I just want a new one called saves, and the other one maps. So into the maps folder I'm going to call it Sword normal. Oh yeah, now it's difficult because so the normal map is called Sword normal. So I'm going to call it maybe Sword version 1, so we all know what's going on here. Yeah, but that's fine. So I'm going to save it quick so we don't lost the progress we have here. Sword version 1. Good. Next thing is the samples. I'm going up to 16, that's fine. The next thing you have to do is under texture set we can go up to 4K, and under maps we have to go to configure, and we need all of them, but we don't need the material ID, and except for the material ID we need our let's see, ambient occlusion. So we have the normals object, position, curvature, thickness, and ambient occlusion. That's are the maps we need. Activate it here, and we are done for the first bake. So I just go into an area, it's looking good, and hit bake. So after the bake, usually you don't see nothing. That's because you have to go to this preview button and click on it, and you have it here. So it's looking very good for now. As you can see, we have our ambient occlusion and the other maps baked on it, and in here, as you can see, we have a little bit of a problem, but maybe I think I'm going to delete this details so we don't, if you're going to cut it, so we're going to bake it just on that. But the runes is looking very cool, and on this side you can really tell it's just baked on. That's what I want to. But another thing you can just try, if the baker is a little bit offset, so maybe if I go like this, you see we have here some borders. So if you have here some border, some black border on the bottom, so I think the baker it's going to be baked on like so like this angle here, but I just want it totally flat on the surface. We can prevent this by simply going back to our low slot, and in here we have to paint the skew. So just open that, and now we can just straighten this little hairs, so this green hairs straighten a little bit up, so like this. If you just want it quick, you can always go inside, go up with the size, go up with the sharpness, and just do it on all our object like this. So all is straight and it's going to be baked in the right way on the object. Good, let's try again. Keep an A on this line here. So maybe like this. I'm going to bake again. And now you see it's baked on completely flat on this area. Perfect. Let's resolve this error here maybe. So just I don't forget about this, but we can just delete this part in here. We don't need that really. So I'm going to select this here and this here, invert the selection, hide the rest. And the problem now is we have triangulated it, so we have to undo this, select all, press the spacebar, and with the spacebar type in truth to quads, and in here you have this option and you can undo this for the most part. So not every time, because you can see here we have some issue, but I think we can work with that. So let's quick do this. Done this. I don't want to do the same thing on the other side, so I'm going to delete this for now, and we can just make an own separation of it. So press P, separate by selection, and with that we can always go inside here, add a mirror modifier like this. We have to unwrap it again, but first we have to apply the mirror modifier, and now we can unwrap this whole thing here, put it aside, and we can just select our sword, and in here we can determine in which area we can just put them like this here. We have to just select all again, make tris, and we can just export it again. After the export, go back to Marmoset toolbag, and it's updating automatically, so you don't have to do nothing here. But we have just to bake it again, and now we have this area without any problems. Perfect. It's simple as that. We can just go to Substance Painter.